Hello, Tommy here. I want to introduce you to my next project. This is another Steve Good pattern. It's called a scroll box. I've seen several projects like this in magazines and books. It's the first time I've attempted one like it. It's not real complex, but you do have the issues of getting everything cut where it lines up, because you got 5 pieces on this that you line up with the hole in here, and these have to line up. Then you have to line the front piece with that piece. I consider this one kind of a prototype because it's you have to cut something like this maybe a time or two to really get the details down just right. This one turned out okay. It could be better, but stick with me. And the next step, I'm going to cover the pattern and the materials and the plan I'm going to institute to make this box, and then we'll walk through the steps. And if you like that, well, please hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. And I'm going to do a lot more projects like this. There's some other unusual boxes I'm going to try to make. This one's made out of scrap mainly, but we'll cover that in the next step, show you what I'm using, and then we'll show how I made it. So stay tuned and we'll get to that. Okay, I want to get up to speed on the pattern and the materials for this box. This scroll box is called. I've already got all the patterns mounted. You've got 3 pieces like this, and then when you cut this out right in here, that becomes the body of the drawer, and you have to glue all 3 of these pieces together, the body and the 2 drawers. And then you have a back and a front on the body, and a back and the front on each drawer, plus 2 little drawer pulls. So what I've got for materials, this is leftover material, I'm still repurposing. The same thing that I made the potpourri box out of. It's a 1-inch thick pine, which will make the box 3 inches thick total. You glue all those together and there'll be a lot of sanding and matching up of that. And this is a still scrap left over also from the same project, and I'm making as good a use of it as I can. So this is a poplar again. There'll probably be some staining and various things to make some things look a little different, but that's kind of, I play that by ear a lot of the time, see how it's going to look when you get it cut. But anyway, it's already mounted. That's materials, that's the patterns. It's not real complex, you just got some pieces to put together. So the next step is to start cutting this out, and I'm going to start with these larger pieces. You got some places to drill. You've got them marked here on the pattern where to drill. And this is marked, this is waste, and you save these pieces here to glue together to make the body of your drawer. So that's where we're going to start. I'm going to drill the holes in these, and then I'll go to the scroll saw and start cutting these 3 main bodies out. So I've checked my blade as normal for straightness. I got it set. That's a number 3 XL non-reverse tooth, skip tooth blade. You got 2 cuts per drawer, and then the external cut. And as always, I'm going to start on the internal. I'm using the number 3 because I don't want a huge curve here, because these pieces are going to be the drawer part that slides in and out of this hole. And then there'll be some sanding or whatever. I don't want it too sloppy, so it's not a big difference, but every little bit helps. So anyway, when we'll cut this one, I'll film this one. I won't film them all, but there we go. We're going to do this. Okay, so I've got these three sections cut out, drawer pieces and body sections. My plan of action at this point is to take I kept them marked, kept the drawers marked and kept them together, and I'm going to use it as the master. First I'll compare it to B, and what I'm going to do is line up the drawer holes, make sure that they're in line, and then I'll check the outside and see what I need to do to make those two match. If there's any major discrepancies I need to take care of, and then I'll do the same thing with C. And then I'll glue them together, making sure one at a time, do these two together and then add C to it, making sure I'm keeping the drawer holes lined up and as straight as possible. It's easier to say on the outside than the inside. But any major discrepancies I'm going to take care of before I start gluing them together. And then the final sanding will be when they're all together. But mainly I'm focusing on keeping the drawer holes as straight as possible, with no pieces sticking out that would hang the drawer or whatever. But that's what I'm going to use as a focus, and A will be my master. And then I'm going to start working on that and get the first section started gluing together. And then while that's glue is setting, I'll start working on the 1/4" stuff. I've already drilled the holes for this, and the rest of it's all external cuts. That won't be very long. It'll be fairly quick, easy cuts. And then it'll be just a matter of putting everything together. But for me, the main thing is to get the body correct, and then these need to be correct as well. And I'm going to keep the A sections in the A section and the B sections in the B section. I'm going to glue them together in the same order as I do the body. That may not matter, but in this case I'm going to try to keep the same sections together. So anyway, I'm going to work on these bodies, make sure they all match as well as I can get them, and get the internal part lined up, and then we'll start cutting on the 1/4". I don't want to just catch up with where we are right now. I've got the box sanded pretty well. I got this front piece fixed where the drawers slide in and out of all. If you get it to slide through this, it'll pretty well slide through that. This is your cover. This is going to be a little larger here because you're going to cover up with the front, but they pretty well match. But I've got the drawers where they just almost fall in and fall out, and they go through the front piece really well. Got the back piece ready to put on the back. I've got them all sanded to fit. And the only thing I have left is to stain the drawer pieces and the body and the little drawer pulls. I'm going to stain those a darker color, and I'm going to do that while it's apart. And then when that gets done, I'll I'll start gluing things together. Now I've done a lot of sanding to get these drawers to work, to get this box to look right. A lot of little fine detail sanding just in spots to make sure I didn't have anything snagging or hanging. Had to work on the inside of that a little bit with a file and a rasp. But they still worked out pretty well. The first time I do a project like this, I got this many pieces, I kind of consider it a prototype because you kind of have to do it to see exactly what you need to do better to make it fit together. This is going to fit together really well, but I could have done a better job of cutting it. I now have a better idea of where I needed to cut, leave the line or take the line or whatever. So I now have a better idea of that. The main thing, if you can get your drawers to fit through this, they're probably going to fit through this okay, so you don't have to work on that quite as much. But anyway, I'm going to stain this, and we'll come back and I'll start gluing it up. So I've got a lot of the gluing and the construction done, most of the sanding. What I've done, I've glued these little drawer pulls on the drawer faces so I'd have a way to handle them. I've got the drawers inside. On the bottom one there, you can see I've got a little glue on there. And I'm going to use this handle to put it in there and set it down. And that's the way I make sure it's lined up properly in that hole. And I'm going to let that settle enough to get tacky. And then I'm going to pull it out and clamp it up a little bit. But I want to make sure I had everything aligned properly, and that's the reason I'm doing it, and starting out sitting in there. So, meantime, I'm going to pull this one out, put some glue on it too, and then I'll do the same thing. But give that 5 or 10 minutes, and I'll pull it out. Don't think it's going to glue. I didn't put much glue on it. I just want to make sure, though, it doesn't glue itself into the body. So I'll be back in a minute when we get that done, and we'll see how it's working out. So there it is. It's just almost the finished product. I got the drawers glued together, working very nicely there. It could be a better job. I always think it'd be a better job. The material I used wasn't the best. Just mainly some scrap stuff laying around here. This is mainly, like I say, a project like this with moving parts. I generally consider the first one to be a prototype, because you got to learn exactly how to cut it. I can make these better. Got little gaps in the corners, but I'm not unhappy with it. I'm gonna let the weather clear up. It's supposed to clear up and be nice and sunny this afternoon. Right now it's been raining a little bit, and I'll put a coat on it of some clear, some sort of I'm not sure. I got a couple of different options, but I'll put some sort of a finish on it, and that's what you will see in the intro to this video when it starts up. And but we're almost back to that point. But I hope you like this. It's a nice little project, and if you like this sort of thing, well, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, because I've got a different kind of little box I'm going to make next time. It's a little rotating box. All of these are Steve Good patterns, and I'll have a link to the pattern down below for this one. So I hope you enjoyed that, and hope to see you in the next one. Thank you very much.